Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the Gospel of Luke. And we're in Luke, the 5th chapter. And we read verse 16 yesterday as part of the study of the healing miracle of the leper. But we want to read it again today and take some time to think about it before we move on. The news about him was spreading even further, and great multitudes were gathering to hear him and to be healed of their sicknesses. But he himself would often slip away to the wilderness to pray. We have three uses of Jesus' time mentioned in these two verses. One is his healing ministry, one is his preaching ministry, and one is his personal time with God. Um, And it's important for us to notice that Jesus insisted upon frequent time with God. He would frequently slip away to a place to pray. We are told, or will be told in chapter 6, that before he chooses his 12 apostles from among his disciples, he will spend the whole night in prayer. We're told in Mark chapter 1 that after healing Peter's mother in law, an account that we've already read in Luke, after healing Peter's mother in law and everybody and everybody else in town, the next morning um, he was in a quiet place to pray. And he said, we need to go to the other towns. And it's here in Luke too, as well, in Luke chapter um, 4, verses 42 and 43, that Jesus prioritized preaching over healing and insisted on quiet time to pray. And he insists on that same quiet time for us as well. Quiet meaning more than just quiet. I mean personal time with God, to talk to God, and to have our private, personal, loving relationship with God. He insists on it in the Sermon on the Mount, the heart of the Sermon on the Mount, very geographic center of the Sermon on the Mount is Matthew chapter 6, beginning with verse 1. When you pray, don't do it publicly. Go to your closet, have private time with God, and God, who enjoys this secret time, this private time with you, will reward you for that time. When you give your alms, don't let your right hand know what the right hand is doing. You do it secretly. You do it quietly. You do it between you and God will reward you openly. When you fast, don't make a big public display out of it. People should even know you're fasting, but God will know, and it'll be between you and Him. Jesus tells us in the Sermon on the Mount that this life that he's describing is not possible without a robust, private, personal relationship between us and God. And we see Jesus living it in the Gospels. The Gospel writers tell us that he went to the mountain to pray after the feeding of the 5,000 when they tried to seize him and make him king. He sent the apostles away and he went up on the mountain to pray. Jesus needed it, as do we. We need it as well. And on the night he was betrayed, he went to the garden. He didn't want to be alone. He took his disciples as far as the garden. He took Peter, James, and John with him into the garden. But then he went off by himself, fell on his face to the ground, and prayed. Um, from the beginning of his ministry to the end of his ministry, he is modeling this for us. And he is telling us we need the same. And we do. And I didn't want to leave this passage until we spent time really focusing on verse 16 and learning that lesson. So we're going to pick up with verse 17 next time, and we'll have another healing event. Um, the Pharisees are going to start um, checking up on Jesus, and then thinking ill of Jesus, and then grumbling to others about Jesus, and then grumbling to Jesus about Jesus, and then confronting Jesus, and then rejecting him openly and plotting his demise. And we really have kind of already started that string of events with the healing of this leper. We'll pick up there next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.